my channel, and especially welcome if you're new here. And in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you along with me as I show you what I realistically read in a week with a full-time job and a toddler, because getting reading time in can sometimes either be very easy or can be very challenging. I do work a full-time job, so that usually starts around 7 a.m. and then I end around 4:30 p.m. And then of course I also have a toddler. Definitely living a busy slash normal life over here, and so I thought I'd bring you along with me as I show you kind of how I get in reading during a normal week. Now, in a normal week, I can finish anywhere from 1 to 3 books. It all depends on my time, it depends on what books I'm reading, and it depends on the genre that I'm reading. But here are the 3 books that I'm looking at for this week, and the first book that I'm going to be picking up during this reading vlog is The Martian by Andy Weir. I did read Project Hail Mary at the end of 2025. I absolutely loved it. I love anything sci-fi, I love anything space related. I mean, I've watched everything that has gone on with Artemis 2, since especially my job is kind of around this kind of information. I also have the audiobook for this one because I really enjoyed the immersive experience I had with the Project Hail Mary and the audiobooks. And then if I do finish The Martian, I do want to pick up The Long Game by Rachel Reed. This will get me up to date with the Game Changer series. This one I think focuses mostly on Shane and Ilya again, so I'm definitely excited to be back with this couple. So I hope to pick up this one. And this one's an ambitious one, so I feel like I can get 2 books in this week, but another book that I've been thinking about is A Stage Set for Villains. This is by Shannon J. Span. I have heard so many wonderful things about this. This is a YA fantasy. It's a very interesting YA fantasy with apparently a unique magic system, which I'm always looking forward to. So maybe we'll get to this one, who knows? But yeah, these are the 3 books that I'm thinking about for this week. As I said, realistically, I know what I can read in a week, but I will be starting off with The Martian by Andy Weir because I'm excited to get into this one. But I should also mention that I am starting this video on a Friday, and then I'm going to be going to next Friday. I know that's a little weird and everything, but it's just the easiest way for my schedules. I will catch up with you in a little bit. Sunday now, and it is later afternoon, and O is currently down for her 1 nap of the day, and I thought I'd give you a quick reading update on The Martian by Andy Weir. Currently, I am 216 pages in, and to give you kind of a recap of the last few days, on Friday I read 25 pages for 30 minutes. I just didn't really have time to read that day. On Saturday, I read 70 pages for about an hour, and then earlier today while I was out for a walk with O, I read 121 pages, and we were out for about an hour or so, which puts me up to 216 pages. And it's okay. I mean, comparing it to Project Hail Mary, I definitely prefer Project Hail Mary. Now, if you haven't read The Martian, this follows our main character, Mark Nowotny, and Mark ends up abandoned or left behind on the planet Mars. And he's not only trying to figure out how to survive, how to make food, how to get water on a planet that doesn't have any of this, but he's also trying to figure out how to get into communication with Earth and let people know, especially at NASA, that he's still alive and he's been left behind. But my problem with this is, well, well, not really a problem. This book is told in digital logs or digital like text entries where he's pretty much talking to a camera and talking about his day and the science behind the day, and that's it. Like, we're not getting any emotions from him. Like, in 200 and some pages, he hasn't really talked about the fact that he's been alone for quite some time. He doesn't have any communication with anyone. He has no one around. By reading it this way, reading these digital log entries, we're getting no emotions. He feels like a 2D character. In 216 pages, I can't tell you anything about Mark Watney besides the fact that he's an astronaut, he's a botanist, he's an engineer, and he's stuck on Mars. That's it. That's all. I can't tell you his emotions. I can't tell you what he looks like. I can't tell you his inner thoughts. Like, if I was stuck on a planet 20-some thousand miles away from home where like life is unviable, I would probably lose my mind. And so in 216 pages, we really aren't progressing very far, not only character-wise, but plot-wise as well. I mean, everything's kind of been the same in every single entry. He talks about his day, he talks about the science, and that's that. And the science itself, it's not something that's going over my head. It's something that I'm familiar with. It is definitely outlandish science. Like, you're definitely not gonna see this ever happen in real life. So that's my thoughts currently on this. I'm literally almost done with this. I might be able to finish it tonight. If not, I do work tomorrow and I'll probably finish the audiobook while I'm working. That's my thoughts. This is where we currently are with The Martian. Officially done with work for the day. I have to literally leave in like 15 minutes to pick up O from daycare, but I thought I would tell you that I did finish The Martian by Andy Weir. I had about 2 hours and 90 some minutes left in the audiobook, and I figured that why not listen to it while I was working. I didn't have a lot of meetings today or anything like that, so kind of really nice. I very rarely listen to audiobooks, but it was nice to kind of like mix up my working day, especially when you work from home and you're kind of just doing the same thing every day. But I did give this a 3.5 star, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I liked this idea about humanity and survival and what you would do to survive, especially in an environment that's literally unlivable. I think that the first half of this book is boring. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over again. It isn't until the very end that we really start to pick up speed with a lot of different things. And I think the other problem I had with this is while the science didn't blow over my head, and it's definitely outlandish and everything, but as a normal reader who isn't into astronomy, who isn't into astrophysics, I could definitely see them getting lost in a lot of the science. I do feel like the Project Hail Mary has more story and plot and character dynamic than The Martian, and we get less of this and more of the science aspect of it. I definitely feel like that dragged the story down. You had this really good story, but it was dragged down by the science, the lack of plot, or the plot just never changed. It was just the same through almost 90% of the book until the very end. I have seen the movie for The Martian, and I will honestly say that I prefer the movie versus the book in this one instance. I'm not saying the movie's perfect by any means, but I feel like Matt Damon did a pretty good job at showing the emotions that we don't get in the book. So we are moving on to my next book for this reading vlog, and that is going to be The Long Game by Rachel Reed. I might as well continue my saga of reading out the Game Changers for the next book that's going to be coming out, I think in June or July. Don't have many expectations going into this one. I will say that as I've I've been reading Rachel Reed's books in the order that they were published, that I'm seeing her writing get better and better, and I'm seeing her character development get much better in each book. So I am hoping that this being her latest release, it's going to have a lot of great character development, and it's going to have some decent plot and emotional build and emotional depth that I'm looking for in my romances. I'm just excited to be back with Ilya and Shane, so I need to get going. I need to go pick up O from daycare. We're actually going out tonight for my nephew's birthday, and I might not get in any reading today. We'll see, but if not, I will pick up reading tomorrow after O pretty much goes to bed, because that's the only time I get to read. Currently Wednesday, and I am definitely coming down with something. Spring is in the air, and like my allergies are really kicking into gear, and so I feel like my throat hurts, my nose hurts, my eyes are super itchy. Not only that, I'm just not getting enough sleep lately. My daughter has decided that 4 a.m. wake up calls is the way to go for the last 12 days. So anyways, so it is Wednesday, did I mention that? And it's also after work, and I'm just about to head out the door and everything, but I did make some headway in the long game. But actually, before I picked up the long game, I did a quick like palate cleanser, just a cute quick read, and I did pick up Heartstopper Volume 3, and so I actually picked this up Monday night before jumping into the long game. So to give you a quick update on my stats the last few days, on Monday, that was the day that I finished Project Hail Mary. That was 184 pages, which was 2 hours and 45 minutes left on the audiobook. And then that evening, I ended up picking Heartstopper Volume 3. This is 384 pages. I finished this in about an hour. And then before I went to bed, I read like 20 pages of the long game. And then yesterday night, Tuesday, I ended up picking up the long game and read 180 pages of that, which was like an hour and 10 minutes before going to bed. Did pick up and finish Heartstopper Volume 3. I mean, I love these for like a quick palate cleanser. This is my 4th or 5th reread. I'm currently trying to like reread the entire series before Volume 6 comes out in June or July, or maybe it's July or August. There isn't much I have to say about this besides if you haven't read it, definitely go read it. It's one of my all-time favorite graphic novels. The story is beautiful, the representation is beautiful, the discussion around mental health and different mental health issues is beautiful. Alice Oseman just does an amazing job at talking about really heavy themes, but in a very positive way. At the time that when I first read this, I did give it a 5-star. I'm not going to change my rating just because of the fact that it's still a standing 5 stars. Obviously, when you reread something multiple times, you kind of find things you like and don't like about it as time goes on, but it's still a 5-star read to me. So, and then as I said, on Monday night, I did read about 20 pages of the long game, and then last night I actually read the bulk of my reading, which was like 170 some pages, which got me to page 196. And there are a lot of things I'm liking about this. We are getting more emotional depth behind Ilya. We're getting a lot of character development. Obviously, it's a romance story, so you're definitely getting that romance and everything. I don't want to spoil this. This is the latest release in the Game Changer series, and this is like following Heated Rivalry. So if you haven't read Heated Rivalry or the other series, I don't want to spoil this one for you. I do believe that if you're going into this series, I recommend reading from book 1 to this one because of the fact that there are just so many Easter eggs that are also happening in this book that I feel like it would make much more sense if you're reading the context in those other books first before getting to this one. But there's just a lot going on in this. You definitely also see Rachel Reed's like evolution of writing. Her writing in this is 10 times better than that in Game Changers. Now, my biggest complaint about this book, and I don't know if this is a complaint that other people have, but I am struggling with Shane. Like, I just want to smack him over the head with the damn book because this kid, he needs a reality check on life and the current situations. Like, these two individuals novels, Ilya and Shane are in a very precarious situation, and yet at the same time, Shane doesn't understand where Ilya's coming from. A lot of this book, once again, comes down to communication, and I think that's most romance novels out there, is that if there's more communication, a lot of these problems would be solved, and that's where like the biggest issue is between Ilya and Shane, is the lack of communication. So frustrating, but I am really enjoying myself. Yes, there's still spice, there's still romance and everything, but other things are more of a focus as well. So that's what's really important to me. So those are my thoughts. Halfway through the book, I definitely could see myself finishing the book tonight or finishing it tomorrow evening after O goes to bed. So we'll see. We'll see how ambitious I am to finish this or not. I am having a good time, and I'm hoping to continue having a good time. So we'll see. Welcome to a gloomy spring Friday. Like, it is so gloomy out, it's so wet out. I was honestly hoping I'd be able to go out on a walk today or be out in the sun today. I just miss the sun. When you have like 6 months of like clouds and snow and very little sun, you just grasp onto any little day that there's sun. Anyways, it is Friday now, and I did finish The Long Game by Rachel Reed. This was so wonderful. Rachel Reed's writing progresses so well. From Game Changers to The Long Game, we see her writing become better and better. We see the grammatical errors become less. We see the misspelled words, all of that becomes less and less through each of the books. Is it still there? Yes. I will say that out of all of the books written, The Long Game is probably the best written, not only plot-wise, but character development-wise. I love how we got so much emotional depth in Ilya, and definitely some of Shane, but Ilya for sure. We got a lot of his feelings, his thoughts, his growth as a character, and I love that. Now, that being said, Shane literally drove me up the wall. There were so many times that I wanted to hit this kid over the head with his own hockey stick, because I'm like, dude, get your head out of your ass and just like listen for one moment. And that's all I'm gonna say. But I really enjoyed this. I loved it. I did give this a 4 stars. So I did finish this, I believe, on Wednesday when I look at my stats. So on Wednesday, I did finish out the last 215 or 220 pages that I had, which took me about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then yesterday, Thursday, I decided, you know what, even though I was towards the end of this vlog anyways, I decided to pick up another book as well. And I picked up The Jessed Crown by Sarah Hashem. And I actually just realized I have been pronouncing this book series as well as the author's name wrong in the last few vlogs. So it is not Jazad, it is Jessed. And I only realized this because I came across a video where the author herself not only said her name was Sarah Hashem, but that it is the Jessed Crown and not the Jazad Crown. So the Jessed Crown is the second book in the Scorched Thrones duology. The first one is the Jessed Heir, and I really enjoyed the Jessed Heir. I mean, there were some things that I didn't enjoy about it. At the end of the day, though, what I really enjoyed is the atmosphere of this book, the fact that it is Egyptian inspired, and I just really loved our characters, and I really wanted to see what would happen next. And this is a chunker of a book. It is like 640 or 45 pages. I only made it about 142 pages, so I read around about an hour, and I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm not going to obviously say much more than that because of the fact that this is the second book. Just know that this is an Egyptian inspired romantasy. In all honesty, this is a lot faster. There's a lot more things going on in this one than there was in the Jessed Heirs. So very excited to start this one. Anyways, that is the end of this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. To give you kind of a recap of this week. So From Friday of last week to Friday of today, I read a total of 1,294 pages. That was 3 books finished and 1 book started, which equaled out to about 10 hours and 25 minutes. Now, my reading changes every single week. So this was a really good reading week, probably because I was really in a reading mood, and that any time I had after O went to bed or after work was spent reading. This was a really good reading week. I mean, at least I think it is. I mean, this is a lot to kind of pick up and read in one very short week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this or want to see my other videos, definitely make sure to subscribe to my channel. I will see you in my next one. Bye!